Hello, and welcome to the Wright Know Your Money podcast. I'm Ashley Smith.
And I'm Tom Richards.
On the Know Your Money podcast, we talk about everything finance, from financial planning tips to how what's going on in the world around you affects the money in your wallet and, most importantly, your financial future.
If this podcast helps you, please like and subscribe so that we can help as many people as possible moving forwards. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing why you need an emergency fund. Life has a way of throwing unexpected curveballs, even when you're diligently planning for future events. As the famous saying goes, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. These unforeseen events can be financially challenging, which is why it's crucial to have an emergency fund in place as your safety net for those times when you're hit by circumstances you couldn't possibly have predicted. Ash, can you explain to our listeners your top reasons why we recommend to all our clients that they have an emergency fund in place as their financial plan?
Of course, Tom, no problem. So, the first tip and the first reason why we have an emergency fund, you've already touched upon, is unforeseen emergencies. No matter how organised you are in life or with your finances, unexpected expenses are always bound to occur at some point. It could be that your home appliances break down. You need a new washing machine, a new tumble dryer. They're not cheap to replace. Your home could suffer significant damage that requires immediate repairs. So we could have a storm and you could find that your roof starts to leak. These situations, unfortunately, are an integral part of life, and having that emergency fund there ensures that you don't have to deplete your sort of savings or your non-emergency savings, dipping into retirement planning, dipping into long-term investment planning, or even worse, having to accumulate debt to cover those costs. Second thing is that it helps you stay afloat during income loss. So unfortunately, there will be times where you may see that you are out of work. You could lose your job. It could be a temporary or a permanent loss of work. Your employer might be downsizing, changing its business strategy. The industry your industry may face economic downturns, or actually you may no longer like your job, may no longer want to work there and want to take a step back and change of direction. Also, suffering long-term ill health with no income protection or with only limited protection in place, you may find that an emergency fund could have helped all of these situations. It provides that financial cushion that not only allows you to meet your essential expenditures, but also relieves any additional stress that you may have should any of those situations arise. Moving on to that, from that, and linked to that is peace of mind. So financial concerns are often a significant source of stress and anxiety for people. Even if there isn't an emergency that's coming up, the thought or the fear that something could go wrong if you don't have an emergency fund in place can be incredibly stressful and worrying for many people. An emergency fund therefore offers you that peace of mind and that sense of security, enabling you to sort of go on with your day and go on with your life without having to worry if something doesn't go quite right. The next one is the freedom to take considered risks. Now, this is one that many people don't think of, but life is full of financial decisions that do carry elements of risk. And we mentioned a couple already, whether it be changing careers because you fell out of love with the career that you're in. For some, it could be starting their own business. Having an emergency fund there can give you the confidence to step back from the job that you're in and give you time to find new employment or give you time and capital to start your own business. Knowing that emergency fund is there can help you make bold, life-changing decisions that you just wouldn't make or would be too scared to make if that emergency fund didn't exist. It's also incredibly important for people that are invested to have an emergency fund. Even those into retirement, we've talked a lot there about sort of potentially losing your job or losing your income stream for one reason or another. But actually, if you're in retirement, things can still break down. Appliances can still break down. There can still be repairs needed to your property. If, however, you're reliant upon an investment income, markets can be quite volatile, and having that emergency fund there will mean that if markets have taken a dip, you wouldn't then need to dip into that money or into the reduced investment to fund for your income or your capital needs if you've got an emergency fund there.
That's great. Thank you, Ash. Now, I'm sure many of our listeners will be thinking, how much do I need in an emergency fund? What's the right figure for them?
So this is a little bit of a wishy-washy answer, so apologies, but the ideal amount really is dependent upon every individual and their circumstances. So as part of the financial planning process at Howard Wright, we would assess what your personal requirements are for an emergency fund, and we would build that into the financial plan. To give you a bit of an example, to try and put a little bit more information in here, again using that example of somebody in retirement that's reliant upon their investments to fund their income, we would usually recommend at least 2 years worth of those income withdrawals is retained as an emergency fund. Reason for that is that historically, when markets have suffered falls, it's taken an average of 2 years for those funds to recover back to the previous high points. Having the ability, therefore, to turn off your income from your investments if the markets have taken a hit, drawing on your emergency fund, allowing those funds time to recover within the investment markets, can significantly increase the longevity of your capital compared to continuously drawing off a pot that may have been depleted from negative markets. As financial planners, our goal is ultimately to empower our clients to make informed financial decisions and plan for their future with confidence. And of course, an emergency fund is a fundamental component of a robust financial strategy. It helps you to navigate any unexpected setbacks without having to completely derail the future financial objectives that you've set. Without an emergency fund in place, should something go wrong, you risk being severely disrupted, not just in the here and now, but also your future financial planning as well. If you have any questions or need guidance on building, maintaining, or even how much your emergency fund should be as part of your wider financial plan, please reach out to us. We're always here to assist and help you with your financial questions and needs.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Ash. I think our listeners will definitely now understand why they need an emergency fund, and I'm sure many of them will now be thinking about how they can get in touch with yourself and the other advisors at Howard Wright. Could you explain briefly just how they go about doing that?
Of course, as always, the best ways to get a hold of us is to go to www.howardwright.co.uk and fill in our inquiry form, or you can give us a call on 0345 688 4939. We'll be able to assist and advise you on not only your emergency fund, but also your wider financial planning needs. Thank you very much for listening to the Howard Wright Know Your Money podcast. I've been Ashley Smith.
And I've been Tom Richards.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe or share on your socials. And if you're listening to us on Apple Music or Spotify, please drop us a follow and leave us a review.
It really helps other people find the podcast, enabling them to know their money better and build stronger financial futures. Please also check out the Howard Wright Linktree for loads more tips, articles, videos and podcasts just like this one. And most importantly, stay tuned for future episodes.
This recording contains information from sources believed to be reliable, but no guarantee, warranty or representation express or implied is given to its accuracy. Howard Wright does not undertake any obligation to update or revise any future statements. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. Investments can go down as well as up, and actual results could differ materially from those anticipated. This recording is for the information purposes only and has no regard to the specific investment objectives or financial situation of any individual. The information contained in this recording is not intended to constitute and should not be construed as investment or financial advice. Appropriate personalised advice should always be taken before entering into any transactions. No responsibility can be accepted for any loss arising from action taken or refrain from being taken based on this publication. Howard Wright is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.